Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. I should put up a Spider-Man shirt, shouldn't I? We're here to talk about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Okay. So, just a little history with the first one here. When it came out, I thought, okay, little animated Spider-Man movie. Okay, dokie. This came out. It wasn't 2018, was it? Was it that far back? 2018? That first one? I think so. Because then they started doing the multiverse stuff. And, yeah, we still had theaters back then. I did anyway. There. I didn't go. Shit. I didn't go to see it because I thought it's an animated movie. Kids are gonna be there. I'm not gonna. No. I'm gonna be the weird 30-something-year-old going to watch this bunch of kids. But I bought it when it came out to watch with my son, who is a kid. And I was blown away at how good it was. So when this came out, I said I was going to buy it as soon as it came out. And I did. But I made a vow I would watch it until I was able to watch it with my son. Unfortunately, it took us a while to watch it because we were watching The Flash. Once we finished that, I brought a bunch of the movies that we had to catch up on, and this was one of them. And we watched it together. But I didn't do a review on it when I got back, because I didn't. And I probably should have. I would have less to do now. But here I am. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which... Wikipedia says it's 6 months after the events of the first film. I don't believe that because Peter Parker has a baby. And that takes more than 6 months to happen. So I don't know. Everybody keeps saying, oh, you grew, you got taller. And I'm just like, in 6 months? Well, it's gotta be more than 6 months. A couple years at least. But we actually start out with showing Gwen's backstory. I wasn't yawning before I pushed record. We start with Gwen's backstory, actually. And just... I guess I should get my overall thoughts on it first. I liked it. I wasn't blown away like the first time because I wasn't expecting anything the first time. This I was expecting some stuff. No, I guess I'll talk about stuff as I go along. Not much to say. So we get Gwen's backstory. She had a Peter Parker who was her friend, and turned out was the Lizard. And when she fought the Lizard, she accidentally killed him, and it's revealed to be Peter Parker. Her dad, who is Captain George Stacy, put out an APB for Spider-Woman, or Spider-Gwen as we know her. And then a variant, yes, call it that because of Loki, a variant of the Vulture from an Italian Renaissance world shows up. We don't meet that Spider-Man, which is weird. Well, I wouldn't send that Spider-Man, but I don't know. And she gets help from a couple other Spider peoples. Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, who they made African American, as they can't stop changing characters because, see, well, you have Hobie. He's your African American character. You need to make another character African American to suit your quota of African American characters in this movie. You had many other characters with different. You didn't need to make a character who's supposed to be white, black, just because you want to have more black characters in your movie. Stop doing that and just add more characters that are supposed to be black. Stop it. Marvel, whoever, stop making your characters black when you have other black characters you can add. I'm talking about Yahya Abdul-Mateen II playing Wonder Man when he should be white. What if Black Panther was played by Ryan Reynolds? people would go, oh no, that's whitewashing. But it's okay to make a white character black? It's not. And I've stood up on this, on my defense of this, and I've been called racist. Yes. When I put that point of fact out, someone told me only a racist would say that. How? What? Where do you get that from? I'm just saying, you have a large number of African American characters in your catalog. Use them. Don't change other characters who are supposed to be white to that color just to do it. Because that's what you're doing. You're just doing it. You don't need to do it. It makes no sense. Especially because I grew up with this character on the Iron Man cartoon show when she was white and she had red hair. Why can't we have that version? I don't know. They're doing the same thing with another Spider-Woman in the Madam Web movie, so clearly they don't learn a freaking lesson. Anyway, we get the Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara, who was the cliffhanger at the end of the last one. Right? And the Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew. And they stop the Vulture with the help of Gwen, right? And then we get, like, they have this wristband watch thing that teleports them somewhere, and she ends up going with them because her dad finds out the truth and is still going to arrest her. Wow. Like, and she's trying to tell him, but he's still focused on doing his job, which is... So she ends up going with them. And then we catch up with Miles, who is not having a very good time because he's getting a B in Spanish, and they freak out. It's a B. That's still passing. But they freak out because his mom is Spanish. By the way, for no reason whatsoever, they changed Lieutenant Davis's name to Morales. I don't know why. Maybe it's because people were complaining, oh, well, Miles' last name is Morales and his dad's name is not Morales. So they changed. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense why his name is Morales now. They just changed it. I don't know. It's still Davis, okay? Officer Davis, Lieutenant Davis. Soon to be Captain Davis. And you're not changing it. No. You're not doing that. You're not doing it. No. So... well, he's on his way to a counselor meeting. He comes across our villain of the film, the Spot. Yes, the Spot, who is robbing a gas station or like a Quickie Mart type situation. And yeah, we have a little fight there. Holds the Spot. So, my opinion on the Spot. I knew about the Spot from the animated series from the 90s. But the Spot there was not used as a major villain. He was very much a second-hand villain for an arc involving the Green Goblin. You know what that arc is, you know what happens in that arc, and how it affects that Spider-Man. But... Excuse me. They used him here. Apparently they pitched him and they were, like, nah, we can't use that. And then went back on it. And they do a pretty good job of connecting him to Miles, as we find out later that he was there when Miles blew up the machine in the first film and it turned him into the Spot. Unlike the 90s show, this is not a suit. This is actually his skin, which, not necessary. Could have just been a suit. But I guess for this version of the character, it needs to be his skin. I don't know. Because in the 90s one, having a suit made him blend in. He could be human, walk around here. He's got the holes, but still. So, Miles is late for this thing. He shows up. And then we have a counselor voiced by Rachel Dratch. And you could tell it was her, Debbie Downer herself. That's where you get the great thing. And then he takes off again to go fight the Spot again. And Officer Davis goes after, and the Spot gets away. Because the Spot is the main villain. I remember when I first watched this with William, and I'm wondering, why isn't Nick capturing him? And I slowly began to realize that the Spot is the main villain. Because all the trailers didn't show that. Trailers very much show that Miguel O'Hara was going to be the villain. Because I think what happened was that Sony still didn't have faith in this guy being a villain, so they had to show the scenes of Miguel being villainous, which kind of threw me off because I didn't think the character should have been a villain. But they showed those scenes to make it appear as if he is the main villain, which he is not. There was a reason why he is doing that, and once I watched the movie, I went, "Oh, another misleading trailer from Marvel." All because they didn't have faith in the actual villain. I'm just saying. But eventually, Miles, we get the scene where he's in his room from the end of the last one, and she shows up, and they reconnect. But this is where we find out that she's been working with other Spider-Men, a group of Spider-Man, the Spider, team, ran by Miguel O'Hara. And he ends up following her there, going invisible, and following her to a world that is completely India. Yeah. There's other things, like a cake thing. Look, this movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes long. And I've heard people say, well, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes long, but there's really nothing you can take out of it. Yeah, you could. There's a lot at the beginning of this, because you have Gwen's backstory, which starts the film. You get the credits. Then you have all this catching up with Miles and everything that's happened to him. If you started with Miles, right? If you started with Miles and then led to the point where they meet and she explains her backstory, we have a little flashback, right? We already know that they're going to meet again. So we have all this stuff at the beginning. Well, we talk about, will you stop squeaking? I'm barely moving. Where we have all this talking. There is a fight with the Spot. He fights the Spot twice. Did we need to have it twice? He fights him in the bodega, then goes to school, leaves, and then fights him again. Can we just have the confrontation? Can we just have Spot? Why is the Spot trying to rob this bodega to begin with? Why can we just have, if the Spot wants revenge on Miles, why couldn't the Spot just attack Miles as he's swinging to his thing? We have the attack. It leads to where the thing is, and Officer Davis shows up. Then we can have the scene. But then all you need to do is have, this scene with the counselor doesn't lead anywhere, doesn't do anything. You could have his Fading Grace be a part of this party congratulating him. He comes up, "Hey, I got the cake. Miles, we just got a call from your school. You're getting a B in Spanish? It's passing." "Don't give me that. It's passing." You could have had that there and gotten rid of that scene entirely. Alright? I'm just saying. And Gwen's backstory could have been told in a quick flashback when she reconvenes with Miles. I never told you. You tell the backstory, she's in a band. Who cares she's in a band? She tells the backstory, tells him how she became part of this spider thing. Boom. You didn't need to spend an extended amount of time at the beginning. You didn't spend, you could take 20 minutes off. And the reason why I'm complaining the most is that, again, I have to complain about this 3 times in the same fucking year. If you are doing a part 1 movie, you do not need to make it over 2 hours long. Fast X, Mission Impossible, and this movie, all are part 1s. And they're over 2 hours long. just in the concept of a 2-part movie, you do not need to make it that long. And now, I know people are going to keep, well, Avengers Endgame, Infinity War. Marvel movies are already long, and those did merit it. Though I did recently watch them. There are some things you could take out. Endgame, maybe not so much, but Infinity War, maybe. Only thing I could think of in Endgame is the scene where Cap is doing this Survivors thing, which kind of calls back to Winter Soldier, but still, it's really the only scene I think to take out of there. But they all merited it. And some people say, well, some of these movies, maybe they do merit it. I've pointed out in both Mission Impossible and Fast X, as well as this one now, that there's some things you could take out. There's some things you could have stretched down, I'm just saying. So, Miles ends up following Gwen through the portal. Yes, I condensed all that down to a rant. And they go to a world that is completely India. Mumbai, or something like that. It's like Mumbai, but Mumbai. Where you meet Spider-Man India, voiced by Kiran Soni. Benny from the Ghostbusters reboot. Yeah, him. And Dopinder from Deadpool. Yeah. Yeah. And this is where we learned about the Canon event. So this inspector guy is about to die because Spot is there causing problems. And guy's about to die because the Spot learns that he can teleport to different dimensions. When he sticks his head in one portal and it's like a Lego world, and then there's another world, and then he sticks his head in and Mrs. Chen from the Venom movies is there. She's not impressed. Made us pop. Mrs. Chen, because my son and I, we like the Venom movies. I said before, I'm a fan of this Sony Spider-Man universe about the Spider-Man. I said it before. I like what they're doing. I want to see where they go with things. People need to stop shitting all over it. Just give it a chance. Because it's not bad. The only one that I would give somewhat negative remarks to is the second Venom movie. You didn't need to kill off Carnage in one go. I'm sorry, you didn't. But anyway, so this inspector is about to die. Miles goes to save him, but it's Gwen. I'm looking right at her. Gwen tries to stop him, but he's like, it's okay, and he saves him. But we find out he's not supposed to save him. A police captain close to Spider-Man is always supposed to die, like Captain Gwen Stacy, so on and so forth. And that's what they call a canon event. Now, I've heard people talking about that in groups on Facebook. I keep going, what's that? What's a canon event? Where did they come up with this? Well, here it is. Like, Uncle Ben must die, right? In every iteration, there's Spider-Man's uncle must die. Like, his Uncle Aaron died in the first film. Which is why I don't like that they're doing this. They're saying that Miles' father now must die, or Miles' world will cease to exist. And I went, he already lost his uncle. Why does he need to lose his father now? It does no. I don't know. I know it's in the comics that Officer Davis dies. But if Aaron already died, you could have just done that. You could have just done that. You didn't need to, I don't know. Maybe they'll figure out, and it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. I'm already complaining, but it hasn't happened yet. So who knows? But, yeah, and the rest of the movie is just trying to stop Peter from stopping the canon event. But it's when we get back to this Spider-Man world, this 2099 futuristic world with all the Spider-Man, that we get a lot of cameos. We get the Spectacular Spider-Man. We get the Spider-Man from the video games, voiced by Yuri Lowenthal. You get we get the Ben Reilly Spider-Man is there. The Spider-Man from Spider-Man Unlimited is walking around there. If only they got Rina Romano back to voice it, that'd be cool. I'm a Spider-Man, you know. But sorry, this is Eduardo voice from the Extreme Ghostbusters, but that's all I can do for Rina Romano. He's also Batman. He played Batman and Spider-Man and a Ghostbuster. Talented guy. And there's others, and when they're trying to explain things, we do see it. Oh, Donald Glover is here. Live action form as a version of the Prowler, which is probably the only version we're going to get. When he showed up in Homecoming as Aaron Davis, and they thought, oh, he's gonna be the Prowler, but we get him here, and then we get cameos during the explanation of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man over Gwen Stacy, or George Stacy's body. What do I call him, Gwen? George Stacy's body. We see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man over Uncle Ben's body. That sort of thing. We get flashback to the first one where he's over his Uncle Aaron's body, and they say that it has to happen. I don't like Miguel's explanation of what caused the canon event in this one world, or caused the world to collapse. So he found a world where he had a family, because he's been alone. They also have him. He's part vampire. I don't know if that's from the comics. It's kind of weird. They don't do anything with it here. There's one scene where but then doesn't really do anything with it. So I hope they do something with it in the next one. But he explains that he had no one because of his condition. But he found a world where he had a family, but that version of him died. And just because he decided to join that family, it caused a cataclysmic event? That doesn't really make any sense. He didn't do anything but start living in that world. And that somehow causes disrupts the canon event. He didn't save that version of himself from dying, like they're trying to stop Miles from doing. And like Miles saved that one guy. He just lived in that world. And that doesn't make any sense to me. It's a head scratcher. I don't understand it. He didn't stop the canon event from happening. He just lived in that world after it happened. And somehow that still caused the canon. My head hurts. It doesn't make any sense. But that's his reasoning as to why he has to make sure it doesn't happen again. We still don't know if the India world is gone. They said they tried to prepare it. But Miles is fruitful. He wants to save his dad. So we also find out that the spider from the first film that bit him came from Earth 42 and was supposed to bite that Spider-Man in that world. And we later find out there is no Spider-Man in that world. But it bit him instead. And they're like, you were never supposed to be Spider-Man, and you're just a kid, and I don't know if I like that, but he manages to get everything with Spider-Man out of that base, and somehow get back there before the rest of them do, and activates the thing to send him back home. And it seems to work. And then Miguel has them send Gwen back home, where she reconciles with her father. And here's another thing I'm confused with. He says that he quit his job. Well, if a police captain close to Spider-Man, a spider person is supposed to die, wouldn't him quitting the force disrupt his canon event, thus destroying that world? Because I think that's how it would work. If just living in a world where a version of you died disrupts it, then the captain, because here's the thing, if he had kept on his job, then he would have died, right? That's what they're saying. The canon event. He was supposed to die. But he quit his job because Gwen left. Because he found out Gwen was a Spider-Woman, and she left, and he quit his job. That disrupts the canon event that's supposed to happen. He's supposed to die. Miles even says, you're going to live with that? That your dad's supposed to die? And now, oh no, he's not supposed to die. Except, yes, he is. And now him quitting his job has disrupted the canon event. I need more opinions. Maybe I'll post it to a Marvel group. Who knows? Maybe they'll do something with that in the next movie. Who knows? But, yes. And then we get a twist. So, Miles runs home to save his dad. And he talks to his mom, and he reveals to his mom that he's Spider-Man. Except she has no idea who that is. Why? And then someone comes to the door. It's Uncle Aaron. What? This is the part where we're kind of scratching our heads watching this the first time. We're like, what? I'm trying to put two together in my head. I'm like, maybe they didn't send him home, and then they literally have Gwen look at the screen and go, he didn't go back home. I'm like, thank you for that. Thank you for that. It's not like I couldn't figure it out. I just figured it out. And she looked right at the screen and said it. It's like, thanks. Thanks. This is for kids, but still. Yes, he's now on Earth 42 where there is no Spider-Man. And 1610 or whatever. Oh, by the way, I don't care what number Earth they say, because they mention Doctor Strange and the Spider-Man of the MCU Earth. And they give the wrong number. In Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, it is clearly said that it is Earth 616. Not 1999-999 like they say in here. I don't care what Sony says, that's not what it is. It's Earth 616. Okay? I don't care. Sony has no control over those movies anyway. So whatever they say doesn't count. It's 616. That's what they said in Multiverse of Madness, that's what counts. But they do mention it. Maybe they couldn't directly say that Earth, but they could just said, oh, on that one Earth. But, yeah. So, because the Spot at this point disappears from the movie before, and now he's like superpowered and he's going to kill Officer Davis, Captain Davis now. And we find out that because they do a thing where he glitches out, and that's when we're supposed to be like, oh. But then, of course, they have Gwen look right at the screen and tell you that she has a conversation with the parents and says she's going to find Miles and bring him back. Right? And then Miles is knocked unconscious by his Uncle Aaron and wakes up. And he's like, you don't have to be the Prowler. He goes, I'm not. And then the Prowler shows up. And it's revealed to be Earth 42's version of Miles Morales with cornrows for some reason. And the mom didn't think it was weird. His hair was... And... yeah, on this Earth, his dad did die. And that's why I think that this version of the Prowler is going to help Miles save his dad. I know they set up something in the end with the other Spider folk, which we'll get to. But I have a feeling that Miles is going to have some kind of speech that's going to change their mind. Or at least change his mind. My thought is that he's going to change Prowler's mind, but Uncle Aaron's not going to, and it's going to result in Uncle Aaron dying again. So they can save the dad. And they're going to work together with the other Spider people, because Gwen does go get help from Spider people. We see her. Oh, by the way, Peter B. Parker, he's back, and he's got a baby. Mayday. Don't know why you had to call her Mayday. Clearly, she's named after Aunt May, but Mayday. She got a baby, because we need kids. And they are recruited at the end by Gwen. And we see that she's not alone. She has Penny Parker, Peter Porker, a.k.a. Spider-Ham, Spider Noir, who were both missing from this movie. Hopefully Nicolas Cage comes back in the next one. Along with newcomers Jess Drew, Spider-Woman, who is now on her. I think she's in there. Maybe. She saw her jump, maybe not. But I know that what's her name? The hologram one is in there now. Maybe Jess Drew is in there. I don't know. But it sets up part 2. Or 3, technically. But again, this did not mean to be over 2 hours. There's some things you could cut. You know. The ending. Getting set for the cliffhanger could be... I felt like maybe this whole thing with showing that could have been a post-credit scene. You know, and with him seeing that himself is the Prowler, and then have a post-credit scene where I don't know, maybe that's where we have Peter B. Parker coming home, and his wife yelling, "You take her?" No, I didn't. And then you see the Flash, and Gwen's there with all the others, and he's ready to go. I don't know. But pretty good. Very high, pretty good. Not to the moon, but very high, pretty good. It's probably in my best of the year. It's pretty good. It's about as good as the first one, maybe better. But I really like this. The animation style, it works for this movie. But we need to stop trying to make it in every animated movie. It kind of bugged me in a Turtle movie. Which, by the way, can we get that on physical media, please? How long has it been on Paramount Plus? Like, why is... I don't know. How long has it been out? Since it's been out. Come on. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse? Let me know in the comments. Let me like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.